Hello and good evening to everyone once again. Welcome to Dragonforge After Dark. This is Kesh, who is now uncancelled with Teacher Mykey, discussing with you big armies this turn. Last time we did skirmish. Now we are going for the big boys.
Yeah,
We're going to be tackling a bunch of big army games. So we're gonna be doing Warhammer 40k. We're gonna be doing Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Middle Earth Strategy Battle Game, War Machine and Hordes, and Star Wars Legion, and also a bit on Horus Heresy. So let's jump right into it.
but before everything else, no, those who are watching, no, please like and
Yes.
subscribe our different social media uh, accounts, and also stay tuned. Share, like, and share our streaming platforms:
Yes.
Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube.
Yes. It is Michael once again. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
All right. So, what is a big army game? As opposed to a skirmish game, this is where you let out the big stuff. This is where you have ranked armies, you have big units, we have bigger tables, you have lots of terrain, and it's more on showcasing that epic battle that you want to see. Like if you want to create, for example, a scene out of Lord of the Rings, this is where you do it. If you want to create like an epic battle between like a chapter of Space Marines and like a Tyranid Horde, this is where you do it. So, um, as you can see, the tables are significantly larger than those that we saw previously in the glorious skirmish primer. And here are some pictures from our friends from both the old and new Forge. Various
Old
players
and new
playing, yeah.
Forge. I miss that refrigerator.
Right. Here we can see an example of hordes. These are both hordes armies, Skorn and I believe that's Grimkin. Yes. As you can see, tables are pretty large. You have a larger selection of units than you would have in a skirmish game, and units actually act in units instead of individual models. Except for things that actually work as individual models like heroes, HQs, solos, etc. And yeah, here's more. Here are more people playing War Machine, and here are some folks from War Jeepney playing uh, War Machine over at the Forge. And what we're going to be discussing tonight are specifically Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, War Machine and Hordes, Middle Earth Strategy Battle Game, Star Wars Legion, and a bit on the Horus Heresy. There are a lot more big army games out there. There are historicals, there are rank and files, but these are the ones that we want to focus on because these are the ones we carry and which are the ones we can sell you so that we get money. Kesh is going to be completely transparent here. Yes, Kesh
Okay,
wants your money.
by the way, if you were looking at those photos and they look kind of intimidating to you, that's only on the surface level. No,
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons that we created this episode, the Big Army Primer, it's because we believe that getting into big army games is not as intimidating, it's not as scary, and actually not as expensive as people perceive it to be.
Indeed.
No, so
Yeah,
this
especially
evening
with some of
we go
them.
through everything. Yeah, we go through
Yeah.
everything, and we'll help get you started.
And it's an important thing to note that there are some big army games that are even simpler to play than some skirmish games. Of
Oh,
course, nothing
definitely.
on this list is gonna be as easy as freaking Warcry. Warcry is like the gold standard of like slap down on a table and play. Ah, my zombies. Okay, accidentally hit my zombies. So yeah. Okay, so let's start with our first big army. Of course, we're gonna address the giant Titan-sized elephant in the room, which is Warhammer 40k. It is the most popular tabletop war game out there. Um, Last I checked, which is like
Yeah, it still
kagabi.
is.
Yeah.
Will
So I
probably
doubt
be
that
in the next
changed
few,
since last
yeah, in
night.
the next half
Yeah.
decade. It will
Yeah.
still be for sure.
Yeah. So like 40k is huge. There's a huge player base. It's grimdark sci-fi, and it's actually where the term grimdark originated. So It's actually great for narrative options, but there's also a thriving competitive scene. Well, not right now because there's a plague, but during non-plague times, they also have gorgeous plastic models.
Super.
Like the most recent GW releases have just been like god tier. As you can see here, there are really a lot of units. Like if you play kill team, you're gonna have just like five of those assault intercessors in your army. But now they're just one small part of a huge battlefield. So this is what big army is all about. In terms of beginner friendliness, the current edition of Warhammer 40k is actually the easiest to get into yet. It's very simple. The rules are not as complicated as like when I first started in sixth edition, and the mess that was the end of seventh edition with like five different rule books required to play, and then they tried introducing a new phase to the game, which the entire player base hated. So now, like, this is actually super beginner friendly, and it's probably the most beginner friendly thing we have in our list next to AOS.
And
So,
ito from someone who came from Kill Team and is a very big fan. In fact, I'm shilling the new Kill Team every day. I can say that actually Warhammer 40,000, the big army game, might actually be the more beginner friendly game in terms of
right,
complexity.
it's actually pretty simple because I like things die pretty fast. It's more fast
Yeah.
paced. You don't have a lot of minutia to tackle with your individual models. And yes, thank you to our friend Regina who promises to give me money. Okay,
Yeah.
I like money. Money is good. So, how much does it take to start 40k? Now there are three separate two-player starter sets. You have the Command Edition for 7875, which grants you two full armies. One is a Space Marine Primaris army, and one is the Necrons. You can this is actually a bit of a redux version um of the what's that box set again?
Um,
Indomitus,
Dark
yes, yes.
Imperium.
The
No,
Indomitus,
Indomitus. Sorry,
Indomitus. Dark
Indomitus.
Imperium was 8th ed.
8 Ed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So it's pretty good, but if you don't really want the terrain, I would suggest getting the Elite Edition instead. The Elite Edition is actually the best bang for your buck, since you get all the models that you get in the Command Edition. You don't get the terrain, but if you're already playing, for example, at the shop where they already have terrain, like we do, you don't really need your own terrain. So like,
Yeah.
and the Elite Edition might be the most bang for your buck. Or if you want to just get started with for example, a small scale game just to learn the rules. Though I don't really recommend this, you can get the Recruit Edition. Honestly, the Recruit Edition is easier to get playing Kill Team than it is to
Right.
play proper 40k. So my personal suggestion would be the Elite Edition. Like 9 times out of 10, the Elite Edition would be the right choice.
And it's funny because the most expensive entry level product for 40k, no, for two players, is significantly cheaper than the two-player kill team set that we have of
Yes, it
targets
is. Weird, right?
by a full 2,000 pesos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And
cool.
note that that also comes with the rule book, the big one.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, yeah,
That
it
is
is.
pretty
It is
wild.
pretty wild. Okay, so now if you don't want to start either Necrons or Space Marines, you infidel, you can get the individual combat patrol box for your army, which will give you 500 points to start with and get started playing immediately. So these things are. I'm sorry. I don't have COVID. Samid lang ako. So they're usually like 6375, and they're consistent among all combat patrols. So find an army that speaks to you. One of these days we'll make like a run through of all the factions per game. So it's really up to you, like what you want to start. You can start orcs, you can start death watch, you can start Necrons, you can start Space Marines, Blood Angels, any chapter of Space
Drew
Marines. You can
Carey.
start Drew Carey. You can start Adeptus Mechanicus if you're a cheese lord. But then after the Combat Patrol Adeptus Mechanicus, you'll have to buy like
Yachts.
70 more Skitarii.
Yeah. But you know what?
Yeah,
All of these Combat Patrol boxes are super good bargains, like big
yeah,
savings.
yeah. Some of them are better bargains than others, pero we won't get into that today. Really, it's just get whichever strikes your fancy most. The most important thing in this hobby is that you like the models. We're in here
Mhm.
for the models, right? Like if you don't like the models, you just get too lazy to paint, and then you'll eventually sell your army a few years down the line, like I'm doing with my Tau. Goodbye, Tau.
Oh,
Okay. So, next up is Warhammer Age of Sigmar. This is the easiest game to get into in this episode. So, it's kind of dark fantasy-ish, pero hindi. There's a lot of noble bright in it as well.
yeah.
Especially with the coming of the Sigmarines, so or the Stormcast Eternals. Yeah, they have an amazing narrative system as we talked about during our exclusive special for the Long War, and it's actually getting better with the release of the battle tomes. I've actually been seeing a lot of the tables for um the Path to Glory system, and it's actually getting better. That with the amazing territory system, where you can conquer territory like a colonial Brit.
We're not here
This
to
is what.
promote neocolonialism. This
Yes,
is a
we are not.
game.
Yeah, we're here to promote colonialism. Just kidding.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Sigmaric colonialism,
Sigmar is a colonial
which is
bastard.
good,
Like,
which
yes.
should be good, I guess.
Nah, man. Nagash just wanted to defend this territory. Anyway, so yes, one huge reason to play is that Nagash is here, and along with all his undead armies. And Nagash is the true hero of the setting. He's like misunderstood and like often maligned, but like Sigmar's a dick. Do not listen to that guy. He's fake news. It's also very popular, though not as popular as 40k. You will still have a lot of players playing this, so it won't be hard to find pickup games. And how to get started. Just like 40k, we have three levels of play, and just like 40k, I would recommend the middle one, the Harbinger edition, as opposed to the Extremist. Though the Extremist does come with a few terrain pieces that are not available separately, like that statue of an elf and those two ruined buildings over there. So unless you are an elf simp like Eric, I would actually suggest you just go for the Harbinger edition. Once
But
again, the
I'll, I'll be frank. No, I'll be very frank about the extremists. It's kind of sparse if you
mhm,
compare it to the
compare
command
it to the
edition.
yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the terrain, but
Yeah, honestly, you can give the no, Gorka Morka is not the one true god. The Gash is the one true god.
hey,
Yes,
buenos
buenas
noches.
noches as well, JP.
Muy bien, muy bien. You know what? JP is an interesting story because he's also a recent convert of AOS. And
Mm,
ito,
what does he
this might
play?
sound the Golden Boys.
Yuck. Okay,
You guys are
okay.
the Golden Boys. Ito if I must say, and this would sound heresy, but I'm starting to find the AOS models a little more prettier than the 40k models.
A lot of them actually are, because 40k has a
Super
lot of
pretty.
history behind it, and a lot of the art is set na from before.
Right?
AOS, after they totally obliterated the
Boom.
old world, gave them like huge amounts of creative freedom, so they're just designing whatever the hell they want now. So that's why a lot of the models are prettier, but a lot of the models are also, as Michael would say, flimsier.
Right. Oh, by the way,
Anyone with
there's
the Night Hunt army will tell you what a pain they
oh
are
my
to
gosh, I have
transport.
Night Haunts waiting to be built from the Soul Wars box.
My
It's pretty cool.
God!
My
Ibenta
God!
mo na yan!
Yoko nga. They look nice. Oh, by the way, no, another bonus pala. Oops. Oh no. Why does it say Warhammer 40,000? That's my fault. I thought I updated this. Anyway,
Anyway,
Nagash is not pleased. No. Anyway, another bonus of getting any of the Age of Sigmar starter boxes is that all of the models inside are usable in
Warcry, of course.
Cry.
Here's the skirmish simping once again. Pero yeah,
Yeah,
Michael is correct. AOS does have a lot more unique models, and yes,
it
some
does.
factions do need updates. But remember that we only just entered the new edition of AOS, so right now it's really only the orcs and the Sigmarines that got their update, and the Sigmarine dragons are looking absolutely disgusting on the tabletop.
Oh yeah,
So
Eric is in love with the dragons.
yeah, Eric is in love with the dragons because he's a cheese lord, plays Lumineth and Caradron. So yeah, John, like orcs got a lot of love, and we will be talking about the Orc War clans for Age of Sigmar during our faction focus
Mandatory
for
October.
Orc War clans with our special guest, Mr. Jonathan, right here. So
Yeah,
yes, he'll be joining us. And so
super
what if
looking
I
forward to it.
don't want to play Sigmarines or I don't want to play orcs, and I'm a cultured man and I wish to play the forces of death? You can get, of course, one of the glorious start collecting boxes. Now these are a bit cheaper. They're either 4125 or 4500 depending on the set. They actually vary. But it's either or. It's only 4125 or 45. There's no in between. And while this will not get you to like a 500 point combat patrol right away, it still represents amazing value. So if the models you like are in a start collecting, here's a general rule of thumb. If at least three of the units, or at least three out of four of the units in a start collecting box or in a combat patrol or something you want, get the box because the last thing is usually free. So even if you don't want it, it's free. Chop it up, put it on your base. And the Soulblight Gravelords is pretty good. It's got, Graveguard and okay, I'm not gonna lie, the Black Knights are garbage, but the new White King is okay, and the Graveguard are
Yeah, it
pretty
looks
good
really
value.
good.
Yeah.
Or get if you have Vet Village.
Excellent. All right. Oh, before we move on to Warm Hordes, an important thing to note for 40k and AOS is that a lot of their releases can be a bit unbalanced upon release. This has been like a huge trend since the release of 9th edition 40k and the 3rd edition of AOS. So when you want to be playing them is a month after the faction is released, after the nerf packs, which will bring them up like down to size to where they're actually fair to play with. So if you're playing tournaments, it's okay to chase after the most powerful faction. But if you're playing with friends, give it a month. Give it a month.
Yeah,
Yeah. Except Admech, which is still utterly broken. But hey, if you bought 100 Skitari, good for you.
that's a pain. That's a huge pain in the ass.
Holy shit, they are detailed. They have cloth, and you have to paint like 100 of them. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
I can't even. But okay,
Yeah.
here's the thing though. Here's the thing. Speed painting is totally acceptable in Big Army. You will be excused. It will be
Yes.
understood that if you just want to prime everything and put three colors, that's it. You're good. Go for it. More power
Yeah.
to all of us.
But note, Michael is speaking the truth right now. Wait, let's go back to Michael first. Michael
Right.
is speaking the truth. The truth. Lumineth Realm Lords are still disgustingly god tier. They are an
Looking
unfair
at you,
army. They
Eric.
deserve to be nerfed.
Looking at you, Eric. Paint your stuff.
Yes. And while Master Jeff does have 100 Skitari, are they painted? They are not. Yes, we openly shame you for not painting them. So you're done with your Titanicus now. Get started on them Skitari.
Yes, Uncle is gonna come for you.
Okay, so now we shall move on to Privateer Press and with their
Oh,
War Machine and Hordes games.
that's
So yeah,
something new.
so War Machine and Hordes are technically two different games, but they are utterly compatible and they're usually just played like in the same thing. So it's great because it's steampunk and fantasy in the same set in one game system. So if you're like, oh, I want to play like monsters, no, I want to play steampunk, then why not both? ¿Por qué no los dos? So and the thing about War Machine is it is the system for competitive play. It's an incredibly tight rule system. It's amazing for competitive play. They release a lot of rules updates with beta releases beforehand so that the community can test them. It's really amazing rule support. They have a great app. They have all the rules in the app, and you only have to buy the card packs in the app once per edition, which is amazingly cheap compared to like having to buy codexes or subscribe to Warhammer Plus, or buy the books and then subscribe to Warhammer Plus to get the army builder function. No, the app for Warhammer Horde is easily the best that I have seen, like from an official company, like hands down, like hands down. But it comes with like some caveats. If you're someone focused on narrative play, or you like having like huge buildings on the board or having lots of scenarios, this may not be the game for you. It's very because it's very competitive focused. um it also gives away a lot of that narrative flexibility. For example, you don't actually want like terrain that's blocking stuff or that's hard to remove because you will need to stringently measure stuff. They also remove a lot of the randomness from stuff like charge rolls, but if that's your thing, if you're really into something that's more tight, more competitive, this is going to be the game for you. For beginner friendliness, is going to be a 6.5 from me. And also, a lot of the players that you're going to play with here are also going to be competitive minded. So be prepared to get shafted like the first few games you're playing. There will be no mercy. Yes. Like, I have played a freaking War Machine tournament. It was freaking intense, man. Like I somehow
Hello, Eric.
won. I don't know how. I used Vian's dice, which by the law of Vian luck will give anyone but him great luck. And for
Yes, you are
Michael,
friendly.
okay, this is a very important thing to note. While GW has amazing plastic and garbage metal, Warma
It's quite
Hordes
the
has
reverse.
amazing metal. Like they're honestly the best metal models that I have experienced. Like I haven't tried the newer stuff like Infinity, etc., but they are the best that I've experienced in terms of metal models. But when I got my Cador battle box and I started like snipping out the plastic, I was like, why is it so bad? I hear the quality has gotten better in recent years, but I have not gone back. Like my army is already complete, so medyo no reason to get some of the new stuff or the new armies, and I'm good with my Cador. Yeah, the Gargantuans and the Colossals are pretty good, pero like compared to GW plastic quality and model quality, medyo malayo pa talaga, honestly. Um, it would depend if you like the aesthetic of this more. That's really personal taste. My personal aesthetic taste is talagang more for the AOS minis. I'm not a fan of the hugely cartoony style. Um, War Machine does have amazing robots, but I prefer my robots like
A little gothic.
loyal to the God Emperor of mankind.
Fair enough.
So
I
yeah.
like my robots like Gundams.
Mm. Or you can prefer the Gundam aesthetic. That's also an entirely different thing. I'm not just
Ow.
I'm just not a fan of the cartoony aesthetic na medyo top heavy, medyo exaggerated yung features. There's also Vlad 2 figures, or was it Vlad 2? One of the Vlads, Vlad 2, the Warcaster for War Machine and Hordes, whose pauldrons are so huge he literally has no peripheral vision. Like he cannot look left and right because it's pauldron. So this is also gonna be a game a lot very focused on decapitation, since killing the enemy warlord does end the game. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's actually a pretty thriving Warm Hordes community. You're just not looking in the right places. Pero yun nga, there's not gonna be much of like anything right now because there's a pandemic. Pero once the pandemic's done, like, and you come down to civilization, we will like introduce you to people. Yeah, yeah. Like not many people kasi stock the Warma Hordes, so there are only a few shops that do. So it's gonna be a bit hard to find the place to play or with like players just ready. Meanwhile, you can go to most LGSs and like there will be someone there with a 40k army, just ready to trounce you.
Or have
Yeah.
narrative fun.
Or Mikey could be there. Yeah. So starting Wama Hordes, it's actually much cheaper than yeah. Eric was supposed to run a Warma Hordes event
Oof.
right before the pandemic closes
Oof,
down.
that's so
Now,
sad.
I was actually going sana that day for to meet Topi so that he could teach me Warcry. Kaya lang, you know, thanks Xi Jinping. So Warm
So sad.
Hordes. It's very cheap to start. The two-player battle box will net you two complete armies. Of course, you can add, but like this is enough to
That's
start playing.
insane. That's insane.
Yeah,
Four or
four,
five.
four, five. Yeah, and of course,
Yeah,
there's
that's
gonna
pretty
be
cool.
the Hordes version and the War Machine version. There are differences between the Hordes rules and the War Machine rules, mostly because your Hordes uses monsters and your Warlocks actually gain power from your beasts. Meanwhile, the in the War Machine side, you're gonna have like Warcasters, which give power to your Warjacks. So it's the fuel system is kind of reversed. So yes, yes, they are a pain to clean up. Like I cannot stress this enough. It was so much pain. If you come from like a GW system and then you shift to like privateer press plastic, it's pain. But if you shift from to their metals, like the metals are great. Like I cannot stress that enough. The metals are awesome. The resins are okay too. Like from the ones I've tested, pero I actually lack experience with the newer plastic models. So if there are newer plastic models and you have tried them and they are not complete garbage, please do let us know in the comments.
But
Now, if we yes,
question pala. The rules themselves, no, they're not they're not as hard to learn. No, it's really just the the kind of people you play with that makes it
no, no, no.
harder to get
The
into.
rules themselves are because they are tighter, they're also more intricate. So they
Right.
are going to be harder to learn than either of the Warhammers. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Honestly, moving units or squads, medyo nahihirapan pa rin ako. I didn't get enough experience with them. They are not as intuitive as they are in, in 40k or AOS. Just playing Warjacks is easy. The complexity level is pretty low, pero it's gonna be a bit harder when you start playing infantry, lalo na in large groups. Um, of course, you can also play Butcher from Kador, whose entire battle plan is literally charge the enemy, shove his gigantic weapon up the enemy's ass. Yeah, yes, the interactions are what take time to learn kasi they
Right.
are extremely intricate and lalo na the only way to get good playing Worm Hordes is by playing a lot of it.
Or have Jonathan Lansang teach you totally for free online. Cool. So
Lol.
if anyone who's watching, there someone offering their
Yeah.
service.
So yeah, we did have like a tournament before in the Forge called the Age of Signar. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
So
it
so
was pretty fun. It was really fun. I'm
what a
only saying
name.
that because I won, but
See, that's his first.
yeah. So it is a game that rewards you for playing and rewards you for looking at your losses. Like you have to analyze your losses. It's not a game you're like, the dice hate me this game, so I guess I lost. It's not like that. Like a lot of the reasons you are losing is just because you gotta get good, or your enemy is like leagues above you in terms of player skill. So player skill is a bigger factor in Warm Hordes. And if you don't want to play any of the factions in the starter boxes, you can go for one of the smaller boxes, the battle groups, which will only cost you down like 2,000 pesos, right? Cheap. And an important thing to note here lang is plastic. Privateer press. Plastic. So, ang tinipid mo sa pera, ginastos mo sa luha.
Oof.
Yes. I'm sorry, I hate the plastic. I just hate it. Like it's a great rule set. The app support is amazing. The metal models are wonderful, but the plastic like Esteban, Cinemaster Jeff, they were there when I opened my first battle box, and I started assembling. I was like, why? Why must I suffer? Yeah, War Machine I liked. I actually went for War Machine because I like the resource management better than the risk management. Because in Hordes there's a possibility of your beast going cray cray. So it's there's a lot of things to consider. But once again, you can always just play uh, Butcher in Kador and then charge. Win or lose, it'll be done in like half an hour.
Okay, is it obvious that I don't really know much about this game? Like,
Yes.
I've read very little, and the little I read,
Ito,
I barely understood. I barely
you
understood.
this is not a game that you understand from reading. To the eternal joys of Jonathan Lansang. Like there's only
Oh my
so much
god.
you can pick up from reading. Like you can just read and read and read, and it won't avail you if you haven't actually played a bunch of games.
The video tutorial did not help much. Like,
With this,
okay, get the
talagang it's
basics.
experience. Experience is the way to go for Warma Hordes. There's a lot of theory crafting kasi that we can do in 40k and AOS, right?
Yeah.
Here, um, no, Jonathan, there's a lot of reading involved. Gods, the system of this, in terms of complexity, is similar to Seventh Ed. Okay, so it is very complex, pero it still requires you to play a lot. No, Regina, it still requires you to read a lot. If you really want the game that doesn't require you to read, you play Warcry because it has pictures.
Yes, it
No,
has lots
this
of
is not
pictures.
the Dark Souls of big armies. We will get to the Dark
We will
Souls
get there.
of
We
big
will get there.
armies. We will get
Apparently,
there. We will get there.
apparently that exists, and we will get there. We will
There's
get there.
nowhere near the top. Like, like at least in Warm Hordes, you can learn to play in 1 to 2 practice games. Not so with the next ones.
Yes, Jonathan, please play Warcry. You don't need to read at all.
Okay, Tits is asking what if he has dyslexia. Um, means you're fucked, man. No, it means that you have to have a player actually on hand to teach you. This is actually one of those games where, well, all of these games, like this is a thing that I recommend for all tabletop games. It's easier to learn if someone is teaching you,
And therefore, Jonathan Lansang is
is
willing to
willing to
teach
teach you
Warm
for
Hearts.
free.
Totally
Pero
for free online.
you know what that implies? It implies he read the entire thing.
Oh, so he actually reads. Okay,
Yes,
good for
he
you,
reads.
Jonathan.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
actually
He
reads.
hates reading, but he will do it nonetheless.
We are so proud of you, Jonathan,
Yes.
for actually reading.
I was elected to read, not to lead. Okay, so gonna go to our next system, which is honestly one of my favorites here. It's so Jonathan learned from experience now instead of reading. But you still need to read. Yeah. Iba
Okay.
pa rin talaga ang actual yes, that is the only way you learn War Machine. You lose a lot. Cash did not learn much from War Machine because he hasn't lost.
Oh, oh. Are you
And that is
channeling
why
the
I
energy
decided to
of
quit while I was ahead.
you're channeling the energy of Mr. Patron Saint of Humility, J.S. Staris himself
Yes.
by
I
saying
haven't
that.
lost my virginity because I never lose.
Oh, did you just say
Yeah,
that
I
on
saw that in a
air?
Kaiba meme once.
Did you just say that on air? Okay, women who are watching, there are women watching right now. You know, you know what to
No,
do.
that's just Jonathan. Don't mistake him. Anyway, so
Okay.
big army spotlight. This is honestly one of my favorite systems. This is the Middle Earth strategy battle game. Guys, it's Lord of the Rings. How can I sell this to you more than saying it's Lord of the freaking Rings?
He
If you
sold
are
it to me
here on the
yesterday.
stream, yeah, I just
Kesh
said
sold
like,
it to me last
Mikey,
time.
look, Lord of the Rings, Lord of
And I read
the
the
Rings.
rules. Immediately after
Yeah,
saying that, I read the rules. Hey, look, it's nice.
yeah, it's very complex. Don't get me wrong. It's even more complex than Warm Hordes, pero it can be simple because it can be played as both a skirmish game and a big army game, depending on what you want to do. Because it's very hero centric. The way you do
Skirmish.
it
Someone
is
said skirmish.
yes, you build by
Mm.
choosing a hero, and then depending on what level the hero is, like if it's he's a legendary hero like Aragorn, or he's like a minor hero like Eowyn, they can bring less troops in their warband. So it's all about building heroes and then adding to their warband. But adding a warband is not required. So you can just play a bunch of heroes, or you can play one hero and one warband. It's really up to you how you want to build it. It
Woo.
only becomes a big army if you want to go narrative, or if you play Mordor. If you play Mordor, you have no choice. You will spam orcs. I spam orcs. Gods.
It can be
And
a skirmish.
yeah, the way I and the reason I she's classified as a minor hero in the game. I am sorry, tits. So yeah. So this is great because it's very narrative focused. You can play there's of course three ways to play. Yes, there are multiple sculpts for different characters. My favorite one is the Sam with a frying pan. Anyway, stop distracting me with comments. So what was I saying? Yes, there are three ways to play, of course. There's open play, which nobody ever plays. There's narrative play, where you recreate scenarios. And my goal is to build a big enough Middle Earth community where we can replay like Pelennor Fields. I have the entire Mordor side na. Vian has Mumakil and Easterlings. So I think we just need Haradrim, Rohirrim, and Mikey is starting Gondor. So there you go. Stop. Yes, you can recreate Helm's Deep. The starter set actually has Theoden and a bunch of stop distracting me. Anyway, Mikey, stop flashing comments until we get to the end of the section. So anyway, it's Lord of the Rings, guys. If the fact that Lord of the Rings being in the description does not make you want to buy it immediately, like I don't know what to say, man. So beginner friendliness, it can be anywhere from a 3 to a 6 depending on how many optional rules you want to add or how big your armies are. Since it's still one move, each model still moves independently even if they're still in a warband. It's like huge skirmish. It's like huge skirmish. So it gets more complex the more models there are.
Yeah, because it's an
So
I go you go kind of play for
yes.
big, but in big army realms
And yeah,
of
it's super hero
size.
hammer. You can have like Aragorn who can 1v1 a troll. You can have Boromir who can, not die while surrounded by enemies if you did like
Boromir.
yeah.
Boromir.
Um
I
and
love
of
him.
course, my favorite, the Dark Lord Sauron, which I do have painted. It is on my Instagram. Uh
And we will show it later.
who has the ability to like sweep attacks and like if you've seen like the first scene of like Fellowship of the Ring, of course you have, where he goes like and then just sweeps an entire rank of flimsy little elvesies. He can actually do that in game. He's actually one of the best anti-horde units in the entire game, while the Balrog is the best one-on-one.
Wild.
So it gets significantly more complex depending on your scenario and how complex you want to play. So yeah, how to get started? There is only one starter, and the
The
starter
only
is
way.
7125. It's not the only
No.
way to start, but it is the recommended way to start if you want either of these things. So you have Rohan with the this is the only way to get the exclusive Theoden model, by the way. And you have Mordor, which has the Witch King of Angmar on his freaking Fell Beast. And that's awesome. Like, guys, come on. It's Fell Beast. You also get the troll. Like, see, this is a troll. Hello to the troll. Yeah. So the cavalry rules are pretty complex. Like the rules are very complex. Is it Dark Souls level? Mm, I guess depending on the scenario, it can be. It's
But based
definitely
on
more
what I read, based on what
yeah.
I read, like I totally understood the rules
Yeah,
almost
it's
off the bat.
very simple to understand. Like there's a lot of the rules, pero they're not hard.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to read a lot. Like yeah,
Oh no. Oh no. Read a lot. Sorry, Jonathan.
yeah, read a lot. You're also gonna need like reference sheets. If anyone here who played the older editions of 40k, you remember the to wound chart? The wound chart is back.
Wound chart. God.
Yeah, but it's honestly an amazing game.
Sorry.
Come
Sorry.
on, Jonathan. It's Lord of the Rings. We have to read the Silmarillion cover to cover.
Um, yeah, movies. It's all about the movies. We're never gonna get a Silmarillion movie. You cannot make a movie
You
about
cannot make a
Silmarillion.
Silmarillion movie. It's
No.
not it's the Bible. How do you make a the Bible movie, right?
um, um, pretty easy. Pretty
Yeah, and
easy.
honestly, you don't need to read it because I have read it for you and I can teach you directly. So I have suffered for your sins. Like yeah, both me and Mikey have read the Silmarillion cover to cover. So
And I love it.
this is like
I
easy
love it.
shit for us. Easy shit. Yeah. Anyway, so if you actually do want to start one of the factions that's not here, the units for this game are stupidly cheap. Like 1875 normally gets you what? 10 Imperial Guard infantry. This gets you like
No, not even.
not even.
Not
All right,
anymore.
nasa 2250 na sila, no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because of the
because of the news.
pagan.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true.
So anyway, 1875 will now buy you um 24 Warriors of Gondor.
That's
Like
insane.
they are they
That's
they are
how
super cheap.
that's how many points. Like, I mean, sure, you saved a lot of. It's value for money, but for the
That's more
tabletop,
than you need to play a small game.
really, okay, wow,
More than you need. All you need is a hero. So you buy, for example, the glorious Gandalf model on
yes,
Shadowfax,
titles. You are
which
hearing
comes
correct.
with a removable note, a removable Pippin on the horse, and the sculpt actually looks like Sir Ian McKellen.
Okay,
So
I'm sold.
you can just get
Ian
that
Ian McKellen model. Who doesn't like a Sir
Ian
Ian
McKellen
model?
model. And if you want to start if you're like Regina who wants to recreate Helm's Deep and you want to play Isengard, there is also a Sir Christopher model.
Oh
Yeah, it
wow.
comes with Grima Wormtongue and a Palantir on a stand. And
Oh,
the
there you
thing,
go. Sold.
yeah,
Okay, better order with us. Better order with
and
us.
here's the thing that I absolutely love about this game. A
Yes, plus
lot
one for
of the
Sir Ian McKellen.
models come with like little scenario pieces that do absolutely nothing in the game but are just hilarious. Like the Sauron model, if you look at the website, actually does come. I believe there is a Haldir model. It's still in metal, ah. So how many
No,
ants is an army? Like three. Treebeard also comes with removable hobbits.
that's so cute. That is
Yeah,
super
yeah.
cute.
And they're actual upgrades because Merry and Pippin provide shooting by throwing rocks.
By
And
throwing
it's the only
rocks.
yeah, yeah.
Stupid. That's so
Yes. And they can
stupid.
dismount. They can dismount mount and poke things. Yeah, so if we're recreating Helm's Deep, Eric is doing Ents, Regina is doing ano. Okay, so the
There
Sauron
you
model
go.
does come with Isildur and Dead Elendil. Yeah, it's
Like
Isildur like this over like Dead
with the
Elendil.
dead Elendil. Okay,
Yeah.
that's sad.
And my absolute favorite is the Shelob model that comes with Sam with like the File of Galadriel and the and shawarma Frodo. It's literally show or like Frodo wrapped in like the silk. So it's
Shawarma Frodo.
shawarma Frodo. Make a
Okay,
banner.
that's
Make a
okay.
banner. Shawarma Frodo.
Okay, let's do the
Yes,
shawarma Frodo.
Elendil does have stats. Elendil has stats. You can field Elendil as part of a second age army na ano. No, no, an early third no, no, a second age army with the last alliance rules. Yes.
Oops, sorry. There.
I believe you can also use Gilgalad. You can use Isildur. Uh, you don't. Pero there are also a lot of units in this game that are yes, there are stats. There are stats. He's actually in the book. There are a lot of models in this game that are garbage rules wise, but are just there for narrative. Like Gollum. Gollum just like has a chance to like utterly flake from your army and like defect. And here's one of my favorite things: the mechanic of the One Ring. Only one person can have the One Ring at any given time, and there's a chart. So like the lowest on the chart is Gollum, but if you feel the Bilbo, Gollum cannot have the ring. If you have a Frodo, Bilbo cannot have the ring. And if
That's
Sauron is there, Sauron is the only one who can have the One Ring.
stupid.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Kasi the One Ring actually has rules. For everyone except Sauron, the One Ring gives you invisibility. Pero
Yeah, I saw the rules guide. Wild.
it gives you like easy targeting by Nazgul. Nazgul are also great because to cast spells you need a resource called Will. And while anything with a wizard staff can regenerate will, a Nazgul, once their will hits zero, will dissipate because they're literally using their life force to cast magic. Like it's super narrative and immersive. Like it's freaking amazing, and
Oh,
I
someone
want
said
everyone to
narrative.
play this. Yeah, narrative. Yes,
Narrative.
fucking Gilgalad. You can there's actually a set with Numenor warriors. Yes, Numenorians and Last Alliance elves. So freaking amazing, man. No, unfortunately you cannot. I believe you only get like bonus victory points for killing the ring bearer. And you know, if you kill Sauron, you basically wiped out like it's like killing Nagash in AOS because he costs almost as many points.
Oof.
Yeah, I believe it's like 500 points, and the largest arm like the large army size is like 800.
800, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's more than half your army. But yeah, you cannot make a super Urukai. But Lurtz already exists, so why do you need another super Urukai? One important thing to note here is that shooting is very realistic, which means that you have to test for stuff in the way. You have to
Realistic meaning
yeah,
overly
complex.
complex.
Yes, you have like effects for long
Unnecessarily
range.
complex.
Yeah, but it's okay. Like only good players ever have to do the shooting. So
I love the
like
fighting. I
and
love
ano,
the dueling. I love the
and
dueling
here's
in.
a great thing. Um if you're playing an evil player, you're allowed to shoot into combat because you don't care about hitting your own dudes. Yeah. Now, the tournament scene in the UK is weird because they require you to have a good army and an evil army. So, and then it depends on what you're playing, depending on the game. So here we won't be requiring that, but I actually chose as my good army, the army of the damned, the dead of Dunharrow. So even while playing good, Cash is playing undead. Yeah.
But we have to make it clear now. We have to make it clear that it's not required to play
Hmm.
the game using one good, one evil. It's not supposed to be
It's not. It's not.
asymmetric. It's just the way they do it. It's just the way the Brits do
Yeah,
it.
you can play Balikatan exercises. It's fine.
Yeah, totally makes sense narratively. So
And I believe
don't
I
let that
saw
turn
a
you away.
comment on dwarves. Um,
Yeah, being Forge World stuff.
yeah, okay. So the Hobbit dwarves are Forge World, and if you play them, you're basically Eric who plays Lumineth Realm Lords because they are utterly broken and unbalanced. Now there are there are Moria dwarves, naman,
Dwarfs.
that
Dwarfs.
are not that are not Forge World. So if you wanna play like Durin the Seventh, or if you wanna play old, what's his name? Ah, Dead
Um,
Dwarf.
by the way, Hesed says they are dwarfs. A friendly reminder, they are dwarfs.
Yeah. If you actually wanna play Balin in Moria, there's like a Balin model na hindi Forge World that represents him as Lord of Moria, where he died.
Oof.
So meanwhile, yeah, King Balin. Yes. Yeah, he's awesome. Meanwhile, if you wanna play like Sinathorian Oakenshield and you wanna play that's Forge World. But if you want to play just the company of Thorin Oakenshield, which is all dwarves with optional Gandalf the Grey and a hobbit, that's in GW. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Yes.
non-Forge World options.
Mhm.
But are they
Uh,
web store exclusive? I think that's
a
another
lot
caveat
of these are gonna be web
we
store
need to talk
exclusive.
about.
That's the big caveat. Like a lot of the beginner stuff, like Gandalf or anything newer, Saruman, the starter, and a lot of the basic troop choices are not gonna be. But a lot of the more intricate options are going to be web store exclusive. So you're gonna have to let us know ahead of time if you want something so that we can order it ahead of time.
Yun lang.
Regina, if you want to make class on your boyfriend, you should get him into You should get him into Rohan so that you can do Helm's Deep if you want to do Isengard. Because the Saruman does come with Grima Wormtongue, and what's great about the Grima Wormtongue model is Grima actually cannot be attacked by your opponent, and he's deployed with your opponent's army, and he provides debuffs. So he's with your opponent's army, and he provides an aura of debuff. So he actually wants to stay away from them, and he cannot be attacked by your enemy until Grima attacks him first. Yeah, you should definitely get some ents. And I believe Treebeard is not web store exclusive, so we can start with Treebeard. Let me confirm that real quick. Treebeard.
Well,
Treebeard
having
is
said all of
not
that,
web store exclusive, Eric.
cool,
So we
cool.
can get Treebeard agad. And he does come with Merry and Pippin, and yeah.
Yeah, but looking at the mechanics, the way I imagine it playing in my head, looking at all the models, I think it's pretty worth it, to
Yeah.
invest the time in waiting for those sub store exclusives to get here. Just
Yes.
order through us through Dragonforge,
And
and
yeah,
we'll try
by
our
the
best to
way,
bring it.
all of the Nazgul are playable and they're all named.
Wild.
Yeah, you can play them as a generic Nazgul or the named Nazgul, but they're all named, which is honestly great. Yeah, and Treebeard does come with four Merry and Pippin because you have like the ones on top of Treebeard and the ones on the ground because they can dismount and throw rocks, or they can just sit on top and throw rocks. Anyway, so we spent a lot of time like spazzing on Lord of the Rings, which we
Yeah,
should because it's Lord of the freaking Rings.
yeah, and we all want to get
Yeah,
into it.
yeah. Next one is another big one, Star
Woo!
Wars.
There you go.
Yeah, we're getting into Star Wars Legion. So now, why play Star Wars Legion? First of all, it is Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yes, and the model range is pretty great. You can field anything from stormtroopers to Darth Vader. Yeah, you can field Emperor Palpatine if you want. Um, and the best part here is that it actually comes with a bunch of the it's not just like rebels and imperial. There's like Clone Wars, there's rebels, there's
This Rogue
Rogue One.
One, the
Yes, there's
best.
Rogue One. Rogue One
That's
is
the
here.
best.
Yeah. Uh
That's super good.
and that's what I love about it. I actually play clones. If you play clones, you're playing the Space Marines of this setting. So you're fighting with good armor, good accuracy, general all around, and they like to share tokens. Now, this being an FFG game, they you are committing forest murder because it requires a lot of cards, a lot of cardboard tokens, etc. I don't know what it is about Forge World, but they hate trees. Like they love deforestation. So expect a lot of proprietary tokens, proprietary dice, templates, movement templates. So that's all gonna be required in the starter. So you need a starter.
Yes.
Yeah. Um yes, General Kenobi is in the Clone Wars starter, and his abilities are actually hello there and General Kenobi. Yeah, yeah, it's great. And he's fighting General Grievous, which is amazing. I actually have half of this starter. If anyone wants it, like I can sell it to you. Like I don't want the droids, like I just want the clones. So if you want to play this with me, let me know. Beginner friendliness, it's actually an opposed dice roll thing, which Mikey loves, and it's
Yes.
also a you go I go. But there's also some randomness in how your units activate because you actually have to pick activation from a stack,
Yeah.
which is randomly generated, unless you put an order on something. So that's where the complexity of the game comes from. But honestly, it's very easy. I'd rank it the same difficulty as Ninth Ed 40K. Not as easy as AOS, but pretty close. What's really confusing is a lot of the special rules, a lot of the upgrades around list building because there are a lot of cards. FFG and their tiny cards and their bigger cards and their
That are hard to
tokens.
sleeve. They're so hard to
Yeah,
sleeve.
and there are like a lot of cards that you can only get in certain sets. It's just yung sakit ni X-Wing. Kylo Ren is not wala pang first order eh.
Oh yeah, wala pa.
So
Wala pa.
yeah, I don't think anyone would buy first order. Hindi na mabenta yung first order sa ano eh, sa X-Wing gaano.
Yun.
So I think they opted to not and just like go all out on the Clone Wars because they like the Clone Wars support is amazing. You have Captain Rex, you have Fives, you have yeah, it's amazing.
We don't have the Bad Batch yet,
We don't have the Bad Batch yet, but
specifically. But they are clone troopers.
yeah, we
Better
already
clone
have
troopers.
one of the Bad Batch. Si
Uh, the dude. Basta, the dude.
the dude. Yes,
Yeah, that dude.
let me Google it real quick so that we si Echo. Echo is already in the game.
Yarn.
Yeah. And I believe there's gonna be an Ahsoka Tano soon.
Yay! Why
Yeah,
am I saying yay? It's
pero
not like
rumors
I'm
pa
gonna
lang
get
yan.
into Legion. I just like the fact
You
that
are
they're
gonna
gonna
get
be there.
into Legion the moment I said Rogue One.
I already knew there was Rogue One. I really wanted to get the Jin Urso and what's his face? The dude.
I love the robot dude.
Yeah, the one that comes with the robot dude. Shucks. I super love that movie. How can I forget his name? That's sad. How could I forget his name?
Okay, so
Played by the
starting this,
Spanish dude.
you of course need a starter set. Luckily, there are no factions that are not like in a starter set. Unless you want to play a sub faction like Wookiees, but they're still part of the bigger faction. So of course we start with the regular one, the Rebels versus the Empire, which is boring. You just have like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, which is every Star Wars game ever. Or you can be cool and play General Kenobi and General Grievous. Which starter is better? I'm obviously biased on General freaking Kenobi. Uh,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
yeah.
I,
Okay, I'm biased. I'm biased. Pero like I believe the Clone Wars is better just because it's General Kenobi.
but
Come on.
I think mechanically you can't go wrong
Mechanically,
with either.
it is
Yeah.
still the Clone Wars starter. Kasi a lot of the stuff that you really want to play are in here na. In the Empire kasi you wanna go for ano pa, you wanna get the snow troopers, etc. Meanwhile, Phase 1 clones will actually bring you a long way. You only siguro need there's a huge debate between Phase 1 clones and Phase 2 clones. Pero I think Phase 1 clones are solid enough that all you need is that. And but you can put like Phase 2 clones in. And for the Roger droids naman, you will need a lot of the Roger droids. So getting the starter is like a
Essential.
no-brainer. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
utterly essential. Darth Vader Dao is better as an operative than as a hero, though I haven't looked much into Empire yet. I've been mostly watching battle reps ng clones and the Rogers because clones. Fuck yeah. I mean Captain Rex, man. You have Captain Rex and General Kenobi, and you can have. This is a fun game because you can have a clone army with Anakin and like an Empire army with Darth Vader, and they're just like doing the Spider-Man meme. It's like, Phew.
You, you.
Yeah, and with Darth Vader, you can recreate the hallway scene from Rogue One. With just the starter, yeah, that's enough to recreate that scene from Rogue One.
That's wild.
Hmm. And ano, one of the best units in this game is R2D2. Of course he
Really,
is, right? Yeah, he has
really.
a special rule called Secret Order, where your opponent doesn't know if you took the secret order or not. But if you have R2D2 and you took the secret order and you bring him to your opponent's deployment zone by the end of the game, you score extra victory points. So there could be an R2D2 and a C3PO tanking wounds for him, just sneaking all the way to the back. And your opponent doesn't know should we focus down R2 for the because it's gonna give victory points or the PowerPoint crashed. Or do I want to just ignore them so they don't know if you took the secret order or not? So R2D2 is very mind gamey.
Okay, that's super cute.
Yeah, and of course, as I promised, the bonus one, the Horus Heresy. This
Oh
is the
boy.
Dark Souls.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Uh,
Here we go.
all right. So Warhammer 30K is Warhammer 40K, but set 10,000 years in the past, during the time of the Horus Heresy, thus the name of the game. So this is when fully half the Space Marine legions turned traitor because of daddy issues and the Emperor being a horrible dad. Except Magnus, who did nothing wrong but was forced into betrayal against his will by the furry Lehman Russ, who fornicates with dogs. Do not support Lehman Russ. Anyway, why is this game rated a 2 out of 10? First of all, sourcing the models, it's all Forge World. So any store in the world cannot order it for you. Even a GW store cannot order it for you. You have to direct order it from Forge World, which is not a
Except
very easy
talons.
thing.
Except talons of the emperor.
No,
They.
they're not Forge World
Oh,
per se. Like
yeah.
you can get the base units, pero the tanks, etc., are still gonna be
Yeah.
Forge World.
The
Yeah,
better ones actually.
yeah. So yes, I agree completely with Titus. Justice for Lehman Russ. He does deserve execution. That is that is completely true. Okay, so like most of the things are Forge World. While you can get like the Cataphracti Terminators, the Mark 3 and Mark 4 Space Marines in tournaments, sorry, in tournaments in plastic, and we can order it for you. A lot of the actual good stuff they want to use, like prime marks, the Primarchs and the Primarchs,
Bar marks.
and like a lot of the characters, like the 30k Karn, Argel Tal, like all the big names.
Mostly
They're
dead
all they're
people.
all Forge World. So you're gonna be paying Forge World prices plus Forge World shipping. And if you want to spend enough for free shipping, you're gonna have to pay customs bribes because this
And
country is garbage.
Forge World cleanup time.
Yeah, Forge World cleanup time. Pero here's the thing, Forge World models are gorgeous and they are usually worth the time, except for certain vehicles which will have so much warping. Okay, so this is actually the end game P to win content for wargaming. It uses modified 7th edition rules. So yes, there are a lot of rules to learn. If you already played Warhammer in 7th ed, this is templates. They're back. Templates are back.
Ugh.
Universal special rules are back. Transport rules are back. Flyers, vehicle facings are back, which are like all the things that I love. But I'm a moderately old player na. I'm not old enough to have seen the dawn of like Warhammer, like certain people watching the stream. But like I've been here for a bit of a while. Like and yes, Michael is correct. It was all Erebus's fault.
Of
And you
course.
can field Erebus in this game. And if you do get into this, which I don't recommend yet, um, you should get Erebus. So I have the pleasure of smashing his face in with Magnus. Anyway, so all of this makes me not recommend it for a beginner. Yes, it's a great setting, but this is your end game pay to win content na. Once you have like a lot of time on your hands, a lot of cash reserves, uh probably a successful business or a drug trade, something like that. That's when you start Horus Heresy. Um so that's why it's a 2 out of 10. Now, how do you get started on the Horus Heresy? First, you either have to select your kidney or your liver, and then you sell it on the black market. Then that should be enough to get you your first 1,000 points. Pero really, I don't recommend it for a beginner. Seriously, gods. You can get away with using like some Mark 7 Marines if you're playing, for example, Imperial Fists set during the Siege of Terra, but mostly we play this like a historical game, so we want to be as period accurate as possible. This is not really just about the cheese; it's about like the
The
setting.
immersion.
Yeah, the immersion. It's the same thing with the Adeptus Titanicus. Like, look, yeah, that's an actual um, Titan from the Ledios Tobiax, which is allied with the Thousand Suns. So, as I promised some people, we do have a special guest to tell you something about this game. So, when it comes to Horus Heresy, guys, we just have to say,
Huwag mong subukan. Masisira ang buhay mo.
so take it from the old man and do not. This is not something you start with. This is something you do like when you finish all your 40k armies and your AOS armies and you're like down the line na, and you have a thriving drug trade or like extra organs to harvest, you know, just do not yet. It is not your time.
Yeah,
But if you
play a few more
fulfill any
games.
of those requirements that I have stated before, go ahead, feel free. It's your life. More people to play with, I guess. Yes,
Yeah,
obviously
you're
I fell into this. So yeah. Honestly, if you want to play like if you want to play a Horus Heresy set game, Adeptus Titanicus would be weirdly enough cheaper.
and
Remember
they're a
we
bunch of
warned you
cool
about
robots.
yeah, we
They're a
warned you
bunch of
about
cool
Adeptus
robots.
Titanicus in like the skirmish game. It's actually the better way to get into Horus Heresy than this. Like like for now. Yeah, when you have all the spare money lying around and time, and time, it's like a huge time investment because it's huge armies. Your squads of Space Marines are 20 strong, etc.
That's
And
great.
no, We are endorsing no such thing. But we are using it as a video clip and as it says under the creative like sorry, the
Commons.
intellectual property laws of the Philippines. It is a statement from the government that is produced at an assembly or as an announcement. So yeah, we can just reproduce it, but without giving any opinions as to its veracity.
And totally out of context.
Yes, totally out of context.
Totally out
So
of context.
once again, Horus Heresy.
Huwag mong subukan. Masisira ang buhay mo.
Okay. So if you're interested in any of these games like Warhammer 40K, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, War Machine and Hordes, and Star Wars Legion, please PM us or send an inquiry to the page, and we will get you started. If we don't have the stuff that you want, we can probably order it, no problem. If you want to learn more, you can join our various chat groups, our Discord, which we should probably link somewhere, and you can also join the Dragonforge Wargaming page. Sorry, Facebook group. And in the Dragonforge Wargaming Facebook group, please be sure to answer all of the questions. Otherwise, we auto reject. Yeah. So yes, because note, we do not recommend it.
And if you're wondering
So
why Middle Earth isn't there, it's
it's
there in
because
our
Mikey
hearts.
forgot to type it.
Yes. But it is there. It is totally
It's
there.
there. The
If
logo
you,
is here. The logo is here. So
yeah,
please do message us then if you want to start Middle Earth. Middle Earth is great. I want to play with more Middle Earth stuff.
yeah, I've been
Um,
convinced. I'm
the
sold on it.
starter box is great because it's actually three armies. It's Rohan, it's Dead of Don Harrow, and Mordor. You
Well,
can split it three ways. Tapos the only thing missing for you to be able to play the Dead of Don Harrow is the really awesome King of the Dead model, which is great.
so
So yeah, I think we've reached the end. All right. So now it's our army focus where we show you pictures of painted stuff. So behold Mikey's Tau Empire Strike Force. This is 2,000 points na. That's a lot with drones and Commander Farsight. Is this the 8 or hindi?
this is not the eight. I'm still lacking a few models. It's half the eight actually. That's half the
Okay.
eight.
So it's the 4.
No, actually, that's six of the eight.
So it's the 6.
It's the six.
Okay, it's the 6. Not the 5, but the 6.
I'm lacking the
Okay.
broadside.
Is the broadside. You should get the broadside from ang Tau army lot.
The town need updates.
Yes.
They
Yeah, flat yes.
yeah,
That's a flat yes.
but they have won tournaments using most of the list. Look, this army that they came up with in 2020 actually did wonders recently. It's
Yeah,
wild.
pero that's a fluke.
Yeah, and it's Richard Siegler, the for it's just the former GT champion who played with Tao.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, incredibly skilled players can pilot really crappy armies up to like wins. Pero yes,
Super
it's an
wild.
army that really needs an update, especially with the marker lights. Marker lights used to be so good. So here is Kesh's fully painted Osiarch Bone Reaper army. You have
Boom.
including the set piece. Yeah, I really love this army, like in terms of aesthetic.
It
And
looks super nice.
yeah, I haven't done the basing yet. Hindi pa tapos kasi the basing here is all gonna be snow. And I
Jeff will hear
lost
you.
my nawala ko yung ano ko, yung Elemer's glue ko, and I haven't bought new ones. And like I wasn't able to glue the the snow on the base. So wala akong glue. But I already
Oh,
have like I literally have Army Painter Battlefield Snow right here, sold it to Dragonforge, ready for when I get glue. And Michael medyo baliktad, medyo nerf Orox and buff OBR because OBR are so shafted right now. Remember that GW hates death.
oh yeah, because
Yeah, and
everyone
here
got
are
their rules. Everyone
yeah,
got their rules.
And something very important, one big reason to play big army games and not skirmish is because of the big boys. You get to bring gods, you get to bring giant robots, you get to bring tanks. And here are some of my big boys. This is the Dark Lord Sauron himself. And of course, the Dark Lord Nagash himself, the protagonist of Age of Sigmar, and the protagonist of Lord of the Rings. He's actually in the title, Lord of the Rings, right? Right?
He is the Lord of the Rings,
Yeah, he is the
definitely.
Lord of the Rings. Like the
That's
setting
a
is named after him, right?
yes, yes to historical revisionism of Middle Earth.
Yeah. Like among our viewers, Regina actually does have um I know this is not the Sauron you really want. I know that the Sauron you really want, Regina, is the one from Shadow of Mordor, which is the Bishonen Sauron. But yes, this Sauron is also amazing, and it comes with Isildur over the body of dead Lendil. So it's at that precise moment before he cut off the ring, which is amazing, and it's great, and you should definitely like get into Middle Earth. This is my good army naman. Uh, he's not featured here because we are not a video game stream. Yeah. So this is my good army naman. We have the Dead of Don Harrow with the of course being led into battle by the King of Gondor, Aragorn, with his boys Short Boy and Bow Boy. Yeah. So we have this is actually very thematic, and these poses are the ones from when they were about to charge that ship of corsairs with
Right.
their uh, army of the dead from the extended edition, which is the only version of Lord of the Rings you should be watching. So
Of
yeah,
course.
it's utterly great. And this is the old King of the Dead model. I do have the new King of the Dead model, but I haven't painted him yet. But the new King of the Dead model looks exactly like the ones in the movie itself, and it's really cool. And I actually named this King of the Dead Vian, and therefore he failed literally every single role that he was called upon to make. I am not shitting you. He failed literally every single one. He failed all his saves, he failed all his attacks, he failed his charges, he failed his movements, he failed his runs, he failed everything. And was like, what in actual hell is this? What happens when you name something Vian? And Vian's like, ha,
Lesson
that
learned.
is what you get. Yes,
Lesson learned. Lesson learned.
yes. Vian luck is bad. Anyway, so we want you. We want you to send us pictures of your painted orc miniatures from Warhammer 40k because we want to feature them in next week faction focus orcs. For we are now in October, and of course, in October we must talk about Soulblight Gravelords, which will be at the end of the month.
Yes.
So please, if you do have painted orc stuff, send them to us. Like no matter how good or how bad it is. If you want to send us your piles of shame, send it to us and we will shame you publicly on
Because
stream.
that's what we
That
do. That's what we do on the stream.
yes,
We call people
shaming you
out
publicly is something that we love.
for the better. We,
Michael, has it not already been shipped? It already arrived. Anyway, um we will get back to you on that. And calendar Kuhn. So again, we are currently on second Saturday Big Army Primer. Our next is the faction focus orcs. Joining us will be our special guest Dre, who actually started an orc army many years ago but then stopped. As opposed to our previous faction focus videos, the format of this is gonna be different. Dre is like a total newbie wondering what to buy. So this is gonna be the temptation of Dre Corpus. Like we're gonna be showing him the stuff and tempting him to buy stuff. And yes, Michael, we will be posting Calendar Kun on the Facebook page.
definitely.
Uh, yeah. Next is the Guide to Horror campaigns on the 9th with Mr. Tits and Mr. Doctor. And then on the 16th, if you notice, our faction focus is actually on a Saturday instead of Friday. It's that because our special guest, Jonathan Lansang, is not available on Friday. And we do want Jonathan Lansang here,
Because we love
like
him.
on
We
our
super love
stream.
him.
Yes, we love Jonathan Lansang. He buys lots of stuff. Yes. So yes, it is gonna be the lasoning of Dre Live. That's gonna be our ano.
And
Like
we're all
damn
here
it,
for it.
tits. Did you not set dates with Mr. Doctor? Yes it is.
Surprise! Surprise.
Surprise. Anyway, on the 22nd naman, we're gonna be having faction-focused demons. So we wanted something horror, but then we were originally gonna do Gene Stealer cults. But Gene Stealer cults are due for an update in November, and we
Very
didn't want
soon.
to do a video on like the faction focus for a faction, which is gonna be like defunct in 2 weeks. So first of all, I want to say ulul mo. And yeah, our faction focused demons will be joined by a lot of people. Like we're gonna be having representatives from the Dark Gods. I will be doing the
All
Zinch
four of
section of
them.
the demons. Our good friend Dr. Christopher Go, not to be
Finally,
confused with
finally, we'll be here.
Senator Christopher Go, who
He
is
will
not a
finally
good
be on the scene.
person. Yes, Dr. Christopher Go, good. Senator Christopher Go, bad. So Dr. Christopher Go will be representing Korn and Nurgle because he
Wild.
does both. And of course, our very own Mr. Tits, who will be joining us for, as his name Mr. Tits implies, for Slanesh. Yeah. And we're going to be talking a lot about their background as well. Because demons are not at all a competitive faction. That's not why you play demons. You play demons because you can play them both in 40k and AOS, and because you're a troll. Yeah. So and then there's gonna be exploring horror RPGs with Mr. Doctor, and I'm not sure if it's gonna be Mr. Tits again, but we will see. And yeah, it's Tits is very dedicated to Slanesh. That's his name. Um, if you mean Malal, we do talk about Malal, but Malal no longer exists. Though Malal actually has references in the Horus Heresy, so pretty fun. And yes, on the 29th, it's gonna be our faction focused Soulbright Grave Lords because you can't do October without like spooky,
Dead.
scary
Yeah,
skeletons,
without dead
right?
stuff.
Like I originally wanted to do nothing but death the entire month, but no, it's October. Guess you can't just talk about Nagash for a month. Like okay, I can't talk about Nagash for a month. I'll just talk about Nagash for a week. So we
And we
have
have other dead. We have other dead
yeah.
things to talk about.
And our 30th, the Halloween Tambay special, is something we're actually very excited for. We're all gonna be in costume. Mikey, get your costume ready. So we're all gonna be in
Yes,
costume, and the
with
best part
drinks
is there's no script. It's just gonna be us interacting with you guys on the comment section. So you
and
can ask us
ingesting alcohol.
anything. Yeah,
I'll be drink. It's
I
gonna be
will
an
not be
alcoholic
drinking
stream.
because I am not allowed. So I
It'll be
believe
an
Mr.
alcoholic
Doctor
stream.
and Teacher Mikey can drink. But we are not endorsing drinking, especially if may liquor ban na naman tayo at that time. Who knows with this government?
Yes. Watch me get drunk on stream. That would be
Yeah.
hilarious.
Mr. Tits, take note. This is a good idea from Michael. He'd like to see a horror campaign where the players don't realize they are flesh eater courts ghouls.
That's body horror. That is body horror.
Yeah, I can't go dressed as the Pope anymore because I don't have the robes now. But I'll think of something.
Yeah, I need to
Um,
think of mine as well.
Yeah, so that's about it. Halloween Tambay special is gonna be great. But it's gonna rely a lot on you guys being active in the comment section. So make sure that your 30th is free. 31 we're not gonna be scheduling stuff because we know you guys are gonna do Halloween stuff. So have at it, and I think that's the end of tonight's stream. If you
Yeah.
enjoyed our stream, please do like and subscribe to all our social media: Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also visit our website at dragonforgehobbies.com and check us out on Twitter and Instagram, controlled by Mr. Doctor. So if you message us on Instagram or Twitter, it is Mr. Doctor who will be responding. You can also join the Dragonforge Wargaming Facebook group if you're a wargamer. Definitely join that. And I think that's it for tonight. So,
Okay.
Teacher Mikey, anything pahabol?
So again, big armies, not so hard to get into if you choose the right game. No, find the right
Yes.
game that works for you, the theme that you want, and there's something for everybody. If you're into
Yes.
elves, dwarfs,
Yeah.
and big,
Yes.
big stuff, there's something for everybody. It's not as hard as everyone thinks. It's not as expensive as everyone thinks. Take small steps and
Unless you play
find the
Horus
hypes,
Heresy.
which will ruin your life and your wallet forever. So
Yes.
please, this is someone who's coming from a skirmish background. I'm not totally averse to big army games. It's not even an acquired taste. It's a lot of fun if you can make the time and find ways to make it easier for you to get in.
Yeah, Mikey actually didn't realize that he had enough Stormcast to almost field like a full big army of Stormcast na. He just needs a dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually,
So
now
he's like,
I
I don't
do.
wanna buy anymore na. And then Mikey's like, oh, I already have it.
Um, Eric, Eric can attest to this.
Yeah.
He is holding the last remaining units I need to
Ayun.
complete the Soul Wars
Tapos,
box. Like,
remind me to send you this Celestant on Dracoth guy.
ooh, cool,
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
cool, cool.
Like I just want them all gone. Anyway, so a painting tip stream. Yeah, that's gonna be from me probably, no? Mr. I'm gonna paint 100 skeletons. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good future topic. We're stealing that for November. Uh, if anyone else has like
Tips
various
or hacks.
suggestions or
Yeah,
like what you want to see on our streams, please do let us know in the comments. PM us, join our
because
social
we
media,
read
blah blah blah
everything.
blah 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 blah. Blah.
We read
You
everything.
know the drill. And before we hit 90 minutes, we're gonna sign out for the glorious algorithms. So good night, everyone. Magnus did nothing wrong. Nagash is the best boy of AOS, and yeah,
Good night,
enjoy your night.
everybody, and paint those minis now.
And base your minis, Mikey.
Let's end the broadcast. I'm hiding.
This is a bit too complex for us in a video with our current setups. But yeah, we can do like a painting basics thing, I guess. Sige sige.
Definitely. Okay,
All
so
right.
keep commenting. We'll read all of them and we'll see what ideas we can get for the next ones.
All right.
Until then,
Adios
good night.
amigos.